Hi, it's Dan here from Flexxable, and today we're going to talk about the Facebook KPIs inside our ad accounts that we use to track our success. Let's get stuck in. All right, so inside Facebook, there's obviously been a lot of changes with the iOS updates, and we've seen that we've lost the ability to track a lot of the offline stuff, which means that we rely on some of the, on-platform tracking metrics that we see inside Facebook. If you do want to get help with the kind of offline stuff, the stuff that happens on your website and all the events that fire, we've got some really great a series of training videos that you can watch here that's going to get you sorted. But in the meantime, we're going to look a little bit more about the metrics that are on the Facebook platform rather than on our website, and what we can track and what we do on a daily basis to make sure our campaigns are performing well. My kind of simple way of looking inside our ad account is to follow my favorite metric, and that is cost per click, right? And we're going to talk about some other metrics in a little bit, but CPC to me is kind of what make or breaks the campaign, and that's just the way I look at things, right? Let's say you can get a click on Facebook to your website for $1. If you can do that by writing good creatives, and you know that the creative and your ads have congruence between your landing page, you know that you can roughly get a 5% conversion rate as a minimum on your funnel, right? So if you can get $1 clicks and you can convert, and your funnel convert at 5%, which can easily be done to cold traffic, then you're going to get $20 leads. In most industries, most kind of lead generation industries, whether it be car finance or debt consolidation or life insurance or, any of the big broad offers that are out there. If you can do this, if you can get $1 clicks and you can convert 5% of your traffic, then you're going to make money, all right? If you want to really simplify things and boil it all down to one thing, is have a look at your cost per click, your website click, and make sure that you can get the clicks at $1 or below. I'm not going to kind of go into how to get the cost per click down to $1 or less. We've got some really good videos up here which you can have a look at in order to help you with writing hooks and coming up with messaging and angles that really kind of resonate with your audience. Okay, that's not what the video is about today. All right, so the next metric you need to look at, although we do take it with a pinch of salt, is your CPM, or cost per 1,000 impressions. It's kind of like the baby brother of CPC, in my opinion. Obviously, if your CPMs are kind of getting super high, you're going to pay a lot more for that traffic, all right? You need to think about the offer that you're running or you're pushing, right? So let's say you're running life insurance ads, which is a really big, broad offer. If you're paying $100 per 1,000 impressions, it's going to be very hard for you to kind of make your campaigns work, right? Because you want to have an ad that's seen by a lot of people very cheaply. And that comes down again to your creative and your hook, as opposed to, to give you a real world example, us running our ads to get people into our Flexxable programs, right? We pay much higher cost per 1,000 impressions because we're asking Facebook to advertise to a much more narrow market, right? So we're comfortable with that, all right? We're comfortable with saying we're paying more per click because it's just a completely different audience. So it really does depend on what offer you're running and what type of traffic that you're trying to get. One final analogy is that we're currently running traffic for to land roofers as clients, all right? And we have a very targeted audience, and we have very targeted ads, and our cost per 1,000 impressions, I think is maybe $50 or something like that, which is a little bit on the pricey side. But what we did is we introduced a very kind of viral type image, which was kind of a joke, meme, whatever you call it, type image, and it halved our cost per 1,000 impressions. And did that get us cheaper leads? No, all right, because what happened is that we went into an auction where we were just getting a lot of curiosity clicks and people engaging with this funny image, right? But we didn't get any leads from it, okay? Which is my point, which makes things a little bit more baffling, all right? You can't just measure CPC and CPM, you have to think outside the box and have a look at what you're trying to do here. It is tricky, and I've probably confused you even more right here, but do try and take both of the CPCs and the CPMs together, because I think if you can do that, then you stand a chance of figuring out how Facebook works. The next metric I want you to look at, if you're running a decent sized budget, is the frequency of how many times you've shown your ads to your audience that you're advertising to. And again, a real world example of this, and I'm not going to name names because he's probably going to be quite embarrassed, but one of my Flexxable members was coming to me for weeks saying, Dan, my cost per lead has gone from $20 to $40 to $60 to $90, and I'm thinking about turning off my ads because it's just not profitable anymore. I didn't spend enough time kind of looking at what he was doing, but one thing that kind of tweaked when he said to me, people are like, the strange thing's happening is I'm getting people opting in, like that opted in before 2 weeks ago, back into my funnel. As soon as I thought about that, as soon as I realized that, I knew that his audience was too small. And I went into his ad set and I had a look at the boxes that he checked. And unfortunately, he was, rather than kind of advertising to, the whole of the US, it was almost like he was excluding the whole of the US and just advertising to the people that would visit his website, his retargeting audiences, which was about 3,500 people. And he had an ad budget of $200 a day, and he was still getting $60, $70 leads, all right, which tells me that the copy and the creative and the ads and the angle were just exceptional to be able to get leads that cheap when he was showing his ads like 15 times the same audience. All right. As soon as we noticed this, we just kind of reset his campaigns, went to the whole of the US, and within a day, he was back down to $12, $13 a lead, the cheapest he's ever been. All right. So if you are struggling with your cost per lead, maybe have a look at the audience that you're advertising to and see how many times you've shown the ads to them. I think anything below kind of 2 to 3 times over the past month is okay. But if you start getting up above 7 on your frequency scores, or anything above 3, really, to me that means that you need to kind of refresh the audience or refresh the ads and the creative and the hook. And another kind of KPI that we track, and I know we were going to talk about what was happening inside the Facebook platform rather than offsite, but if you're spending all this money and you're writing good copy and you're tracking your CPCs and your CPMs are all good, and your hooks, your ads, everything you think is dialed in, but you just can't get your cost per lead down. You can't get your funnel converting, right? You need to have a look at your funnel. And what we do is we call them micro conversions, and we install these micro conversions inside our funnel, and then we use some clever tech or whatever you call it to be able to pull these micro events back into the Facebook platform. All right. And a lot of the stuff we run is via survey funnels or quiz funnels. We use Leads Hook for that. And within Leads Hook, you can track the different stages people get through. So you can track starting the quiz, literally clicking the first button, which is always a good sign that someone's engaged with your landing page. All right. Then you want to check the next major event, which, depending on your kind of offer, could be people telling you their email address. Okay. That could be a really big thing to track. All right. And then obviously you got people giving their phone number to you. So that could be, if you're looking at a micro commitment type survey funnel, the first question could be, how old are you? The second question could be, if it's life insurance, do you smoke or not? The third question could be, okay, have you had life insurance before? And you're going through this funnel till you get to the point where you ask for their email address. And then the next step could be asking for your first name and last name. And then the one after that could be asking for the phone number. All right. And the phone number is where you get the big drop off. So the transition between asking for name to asking for phone number is something you really need to work on. So if you're able to track all of these micro conversions through your funnel and pull them back into the Facebook ad platform, then you're able to see how well your funnel is converting as well inside Facebook, or how far people are getting through that funnel. We call it the left to right strategy as well, right? So all of this is important. and it's definitely worth doing if your metrics are good, your KPIs are good, but you can't get a conversion happening or a lead happening inside your funnel. The final KPI is obviously cost per lead. I guess it kind of trumps everything, even your CPCs, obviously, especially if you're running the kind of pay per lead model. So the difference between what you generate the lead for and what you pay is your company profit margin. All right. So, it's obviously something that you really need to get dialed in. I think with the iOS issues and the tracking issues, what we see is that there's sometimes your leads don't match up. But what we have found, if you do set up your Facebook conversion API properly, is that 2 or 3 days later, it kind of catches up and becomes pretty accurate. You haven't got the exact metrics to kind of measure at the moment, but it does help if you're able to kind of wait a couple of days for the kind of conversion events to catch up. Okay, so if you have enjoyed this video today, please do give us a like, so we know to create more videos like this. If you've got any questions at all about conversion, the Facebook conversion API and the KPIs and all that type of stuff, comment below and we'll get back to you and help you as soon as we can. And the last thing is, if you want to be the first to know when there's new content created by us, then please subscribe and you'll get a notification whenever there's a new bit of content created. So you might have heard me talk about pay-per-lead model, performance-based lead generation, and how that works. I've actually got a free kind of game plan on how you can move from the old way of doing things, retainers, and being a master of none and doing a lot of stuff for all your clients, to purely becoming a performance-based pay-per-lead agency. I've got a game plan, as I said, on this. It's good stuff. You should check it out.